She broke into my private pool and threw a party. I sued and got $120,000 from the HOA. Have you ever had your sanctuary violated by someone who thought rules didn't apply to them? It was a sweltering July evening in 2024 when I returned to my upscale gated community in Scottsdale, Arizona, dreaming of a quiet dip in my private backyard pool. I'd spent years curating my home a sleek, modern oasis with a custom infinity pool overlooking the desert. It was my escape from a high-pressure tech job, a place where I could unwind in solitude. But as I pulled into my driveway, the thumping bass of EDM and raucous laughter shattered my peace. My backyard was lit up like a Vegas nightclub, and at least 30 strangers were splashing in my pool, drinks in hand, with a self-proclaimed queen named Karen at the helm. I stormed to the backyard, heart pounding, and found her Karen, a platinum blonde woman in her late 40s, lounging on my pool float with a margarita, barking orders like she owned the place. "Hey, relax, tech bro," she slurred when I demanded they leave. "This is a community, not your personal kingdom." Her entourage, a mix of her kids, their friends, and random neighbors, cheered her on. She claimed the HOA gave her permission to use my pool because hers was under maintenance. I called security, but they were useless, shrugging it off as a neighborly misunderstanding. By the time the police arrived, the party had dispersed, leaving my backyard trashed empty bottles, food wrappers, and a cracked pool tile that would cost thousands to replace. Furious, I dug into the truth. Karen wasn't just any neighbor. She was the HOA president's sister-in-law, living in a nearby condo she couldn't afford to maintain. Her pool wasn't under maintenance, it was drained because she hadn't paid her dues. I checked my security footage, which showed her and her crew cutting through my locked gate with bolt cutters at 6 p.m. that evening. The HOA's rules were crystal clear. Private property, including pools, was off-limits without explicit owner consent. Karen had none. When I confronted the HOA president, Mark, he dismissed me with a smirk. "Karen's family. She's just borrowing your space. No harm done." No harm? My privacy was invaded, my property damaged, and my trust in the community shattered. Then came the twist. I wasn't the only victim. A quiet retiree named Mrs. Delgado, who lived 2 streets over, approached me at the next HOA meeting. She'd overheard Karen bragging about taking what she deserved from rich snobs like me. Mrs. Delgado revealed Karen had pulled similar stunts before using other residents' amenities, hosting unapproved events, even bullying a young couple into letting her borrow their garage for storage. She'd gotten away with it because Mark always covered for her. Mrs. Delgado handed me a USB drive with emails she'd obtained through a friend at the HOA office, showing Mark and Karen conspiring to dodge accountability for years. One email even mentioned my pool specifically. "He's never home. Just use it. What's he gonna do?" Armed with this, I didn't just want Karen gone, I wanted justice. I hired a lawyer, Sarah, who specialized in property disputes and had a reputation for shredding entitled HOAs. We built a case: trespassing, property damage, and HOA negligence. Sarah uncovered that the HOA's insurance policy hadn't been updated in years, leaving them liable for Karen's actions since Mark had implicitly endorsed her behavior. We sued Karen for damages and the HOA for failing to enforce their own rules. Karen's defense? She doubled down, claiming I was gatekeeping a pool I barely used, and that her party was a community-building event. She even had the audacity to countersue me for emotional distress, alleging my aggressive confrontation humiliated her in front of her guests. The courtroom showdown was electric. Sarah presented my security footage, showing Karen's crew breaking in, laughing as they tossed bottles into my landscaping. Mrs. Delgado testified about Karen's pattern of entitlement, her voice trembling but resolute as she recounted years of intimidation. The judge's face hardened when Sarah played a voicemail Karen left me after the incident, sneering, "You think you're better than us? I'll throw a bigger party next time." The HOA's lawyer tried to pin the blame on me for not securing my gate well enough, but Sarah obliterated that argument with the HOA's own bylaws, which mandated strict enforcement against unauthorized access. Mark took the stand and crumbled under cross-examination, admitting he'd given Karen a general pass to use community amenities because she's family. Then came the bombshell. Another neighbor, a shy college student named Ethan, came forward mid-trial. He'd been at the party not as a guest, but as a reluctant volunteer. Karen had pressured into setting up speakers because she'd threatened to report his dog for excessive barking. To the HOA, Ethan's testimony painted Karen as a manipulator who used her connections to bully anyone who resisted her. His nervous but honest account shifted the room's energy. Even Karen's smug grin faltered. The judge didn't just see a party gone wrong, saw a pattern of abuse enabled by a complicit HOA. Karen's world collapsed in the verdict. The judge ruled in my favor, awarding me $120,000. $50,000 for property damages. The pool tile, landscaping, and gate repairs. $60,000 for emotional distress and loss of privacy. And $10,000 in punitive damages to send a message. The HOA was ordered to cover the bulk due to their negligence, with Karen personally liable for $20,000. Mark was forced to resign as HOA president, and Karen faced a restraining order barring her from my property. Her countersuit was dismissed with prejudice, the judge calling it frivolous and vindictive. As we left the courtroom, Karen was screaming at her lawyer, her face red with fury, while her former party guests avoided her gaze. Mrs. Delgado hugged me, tears in her eyes, whispering, "Thank you for standing up to her." The aftermath was sweeter than I'd imagined. The HOA overhauled its leadership, electing Mrs. Delgado as the new president. She implemented stricter enforcement of rules and a transparent complaint system, ensuring no one could exploit connections again. Karen moved out of the community within months, unable to afford her condo after the fines and legal fees. My pool became my sanctuary again, and I hosted a small barbecue for Mrs. Delgado, Ethan, and a few neighbors who'd supported me. A quiet celebration of reclaiming our peace. The desert sunset glowed over the water, and for the first time in months, I felt at home. This wasn't just about a pool or a party, it was about standing up to entitlement, demanding accountability, and protecting what's yours. Karen thought she could take whatever she wanted, but she learned the hard way. Actions have consequences, and no one's above the rules. What do you think? Have you ever dealt with a Karen who thought they owned the world? Was I right to sue, or should I have let it slide for the sake of peace? Share your thoughts below.